I'll start with my usual greeting, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon what time you consume your media. Welcome to Run It Back. This is episode number 77, and I am the host, Menelik Fernandez. The premise of the show, of course, remains the same, where we take teams that have played previously and we run it back, so to speak, where we go through, our scouting and preparation process, where we go through in-game adjustments, where we sit down as coaches and just sort of pick each other's brains as to how we could make it be better, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we would do different, all along those lines. So today is a continuation in the same series. We are looking at FAU versus Charlotte from January 22nd, 2021. I'm very fortunate to have a friend and an assistant coach from this game join us. Coach Akeem Miskdeen is joining us today. Forgive my pronunciation of your last name, Akeem. I've never got that right yet. But let me, if you give me a second, I will try my best to give you a warm welcome on the show. Akeem has been a Dobo at Hampton for a year, assistant coach at Mount Olive College for a year, was an assistant coach at Wingate for 1 year, an assistant and associate head coach at Hampton over the span of 5 years, an assistant coach at Kent State for 2 years, an assistant coach at FAU for 3, and is now currently at Florida with the Gators. Of course, has had multiple trips to the tournament, was a phenomenal player in his own right when he played back in the day, and is somebody that over the past year and a half, I have had the tremendous honor of sitting down and listening to, learning from, getting better with. So I am excited and appreciative of your time. Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to Run It Back.
Man, it's a pleasure to be on. I know you've been trying to get me on for a minute, so I apologize on that, but it's a pleasure to be on. Thanks for all the high praises. I was just an okay player, because if I was any good, I wouldn't be on your Zoom. I'll be making some money. So
I hear you. Well, you know what? Some of my previous guests might challenge that statement. I got a few guys that are playing pro and that were pretty good as well. So we'll see. But no, as I said, I appreciate your time and always love sitting down and listening to your point of view of stuff. So let's delve into this game. But before we do that, I know you've moved on since being at FAU, but give me a little bit of a rundown of the conference, where you are in season at this point. It was the COVID year, what the restrictions were like. Just sort of set the stage a little bit. Tell us about, this game in itself. And of course, don't forget to mention the key part of how you got to sit in the big seat for this one.
Yeah, interesting year last year with COVID. Obviously, Charlotte has been my scout for 3 years. Haven't had success with them. So I definitely want to have some success against them. And I kind of disrespected them in my scout, because I always go by UNC Charlotte, because that's the Charlotte I know from my time at Queen's University and the time that they were really, really rolling. But so this year was different because we couldn't go out. So we came up with a game plan to just like have everybody do the scout. So me and Cal Church, Cal is an assistant at FAU. He's starting his 4th year as an assistant. We were the defensive guys, and Todd Abernathy and Coach May handled offense. So what me and Cal would do is we would switch every weekend. I would do personnel, blobs and slobs, and vice versa. So Charlotte, it was my deal, and he was doing personnel and blobs and slobs. So we were playing back-to-back Friday, Saturday, and Conference USA. I don't know if most of you should know about Conference USA, one of the better leagues in the country. According to KenPom, ranked anywhere from 10 to 13. With 32 leagues, that's pretty formidable.
Right.
Being ranked 10 and 13, usually gonna get one team in. Back in the day, a lot of people would know Conference USA was one of the best leagues in the country, with Memphis, DePaul, Cincinnati, Louisville. Now, the last couple of years, North Texas has had success. Everyone knows Western Kentucky has some of the best players. La Tech, when they were in the league, they were good. Old Dominion was good. So competitive league. I know I'm forgetting some teams. I got teams like Marshall. But competitive league, that night in, night out, it's going to be tough. Coach May just finished his 3rd year. and we inherited a tough job at FAU. They haven't had really many successful seasons, and we had three back-to-back winning seasons. First time in a long time we had a winning conference record. So we're moving in the right direction, and they're going to continue to move in the right direction. But last year was an interesting year. I like what we did in scouting, and who knows if I'm fortunate enough to become a head coach, I may continue to do that, even though it's really hard work.
Yeah, no, for sure. So let's delve into your actual process of the scout. Obviously, things, they transition. There's audibles thrown during a COVID season with the planning and the back-to-backs, as you mentioned. So if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, you guys were on a 6-day hiatus from playing Florida International twice previously. When do you guys start the scout? Like you sort of mentioned the breakdown of it, but like let's talk about what goes into it, the clips, how you focus on personnel versus how you focus on the blobs and slobs and all that kind of stuff. How long those clips are, any of that kind of stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you have something for us in terms of being able to share stuff. So whenever you want, throw that up as well.
Yeah, probably the biggest audible too. I didn't bring this up, and most of you guys that know me, I never really praise myself. It's about the guys, but I was fortunate enough to be the head coach of that game.
Right.
Coach May had contact tracing with his son. I got a call Friday morning as a staff, and Coach said, "Akeem, you're gonna coach." And our staff did a good job. It hits you in the face like, "Oh shoot, you're gonna coach." But I've been brought up under a lot of great head coaches, starting from a high school coach. So I felt that I can be as prepared as possible for this opportunity, but you're never prepared. Like you can have great parents when you raise your child, it's going to be similar to basketball. Like it's going to be something that you're not prepared for. Same with sitting in that first seat.
And so that's the interrupt, but as a side note, there's some gentlemen in this call and myself, we were all watching this game live when it was happening too, because of that call that you got to jump in. We made an extra special point of jumping on and watching, but take us through that. Sorry, please.
Yeah, that was interesting day. Obviously, I was more anxious. I always been anxious. I never really been nervous about basketball. I think when you're prepared, you really don't get nervous. You get that anxiety. You like, and forget starting lineups. All respect to the national anthem, but forget the national anthem. Let's get this ball thrown up. So I was always anxious and ready and hungry, ready to get it going. We should have. I wish we would have played right after he told me, because I had to wait for about 7 hours.
Right.
But this, a lot of preparation happens before the game. So we played Friday, Saturday. We're off Sunday. So usually for me, I finished personnel for FIU. Personnel is obviously a little bit easier than doing the whole scout. So usually Saturday night, Sunday, I'm starting to watch games and trying to figure out, what should we do on defense against Charlotte. So for a coach, for me, it starts Saturday, Sunday. I try to watch at least 5 games. But within those 5 games, if the team doesn't play like us, then I'll watch a game. I don't care if it's the first game of the season, depending on if the team plays like us. Like you don't want to watch a game if you ice or down ball screens. You want to watch a game where they hard hedge. Like you can watch 5 games where they hard hedge. You want to figure out how they're going to beat the down. Right. So you really want to find a game that the team is very similar to you guys. If you like FIU, they do run and jump and they fly around and they do a bunch of different stuff on defense. Like we don't play like that. So that's really tough for us because that's our travel partner. So when we play a team that played them the previous year, you really got to go watch the game, 2 games after them. So I would watch those games. I would have the scout prepared at least for Tuesday. So I'm gonna watch at least at minimum 5 games, but we're all we all want to be really good. So we end up watching like 10 games. And I may not watch a whole 10 games, but for sure a whole 5 games. And I do my own clippings and I have my own database. So I'll watch the games and we'll start kind of guarding their actions through breakdown on Tuesday.
Okay.
What we did at FAU, which I thought was unique, was we'll have me and Cal Church will be on one end, Coach May and Todd will be on one end, and we'll go over some of their actions on one end. And we usually do that probably like Wednesday, Thursday, and we'll guard their actions on one end, and the offense will be working on one end, and we'll flip flop. And we'll do that at Tuesday as well. We'll just break it down like maybe 3-on-3 with some of the scout team members. So that's the biggest thing. We'll start working on them Tuesday. Monday is usually shots, and let's clean up what we need to clean up from the games. Let's fix what we need to fix about us. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of a little bit of us on Tuesday and a little bit of them. Then Wednesday, more them. Wednesday and Thursday, more them. And Friday, shoot around, more them.
So if there was a spectrum and at one end of the spectrum is like, we do what we do and we're going to do that and do it well. And at the other end of the spectrum is we're going to completely tailor our game plan for this game, to our opponent and beat them at their own game. Where would you guys have fit on that spectrum? And like, based upon that, in the week, you do mention that you're doing both. What's the breakdown percentage wise where you're working on your stuff versus working on their stuff?
Never was good at math, but I would say half and half.
Yeah.
I would say we're right in the middle. We're going to work on a lot of us, but and to be quite honest with you, when you have really like Western Kentucky, they can probably work more on them. They have NBA guys.
Right.
But when you have a team that you got to kind of figure some stuff out and you don't have as much telling as everyone else, you got to work more on you. I mean, more on the scout, in my opinion. That's just me. If you don't have, some of the best players in the league, you may have to scheme a little bit more. So you got to work more on the scout. And obviously we didn't have the best players in the league. So we had to do 50-50. We were right there even. That's how our team was. Like, we were right there. We had some good players. We weren't terrible.
Right.
But we didn't have the greatest players in the world. So I just feel like when you have some really good players, if you get them to play hard and take good shots, you'll have a chance. Like I'm reading Getting to Know Us, a book by Seth Davis. And he talks about Jim Boeheim, how, they don't do any scouting. So they work on them. But,
right.
When you have some of those players that he had, you may not have to do much. I'm sure it's the same with Kentucky. I'm sure they don't do as much scouting as everyone else. And
well, when you can show up and be better, it definitely helps for sure.
No question. So we do both, and I'll share my screen and take you guys through some of the stuff.
That'd be great.
That we do. Give me 1 second. Excuse me, I don't have it as organized as I would like, but so here's the paper scout. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, you good. So
here's the paper scout. Yeah, I like that better. So that's basically, we don't try to give them like 1,500 pages, we just try to give them a little bit. It talks about, I put UNC Charlotte. I'm so used to having UNC Charlotte. I talk about them and I give them a little introduction so our guys can see who they are. Then you see, let's see if I can get to one page at a time.
I think if you go to that double and then just zoom on the one side, like just
okay, I got
scratch
you.
it, I think that makes it work. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Let's go to this. So you see, let's go offense. And we can talk about, I won't read it verbatim, but it's a lot of drag ball screens in transition. They're opportunist pushers. Like, they're not going to push all the time. Like, every make, they're going to take it out and run their stuff. They'll use their entire shot clock. So one thing we did in practice going against them, like, we had the scout team use the entire shot clock, then guard for the last 10 seconds. You really have to focus on guarding for the last 10 seconds. It's going to be in one guy's hand. We got to figure out a way to stop them. And you see, I got their top 3 players on there on the offense. Then I have their actions. I don't try to give them everything. I give them some of the stuff with their actions. Then I give them some of the stuff against 2-3. Then, we play a little 1-3-1. So some of the stuff's against 1-3-1. Then, Todd did a good job with their defense. Pack line D, same as Virginia. They're going to be heavy gap. They're not going to switch guard to guard. Handoffs. and he has kill cuts. Kill cuts for us is basically a 45 cut, cutting from the wing. They're going to hedge with their 5. They will switch ball screens with their 4. Post defense, they usually fire. And you see some of their goals, and you see some of their numbers, the analytical stuff.
Love it.
So as you go ahead.
Let me ask you a question, Akeem. Sorry. This is beautiful. Love it. How would you present this to your guys? Would you just send it to them, or would you actually sit down in a whole group and talk them through it?
So we have bullet points. So we send this, the top half, you see this opponent offense, opponent defense. We send that. We don't really talk about that. We'll talk about it a little bit. What we really talk about, okay, keys. So that's what you'll see down there at the bottom. You see all our defensive keys. Like, we got to get back and get the ball stopped. The bigs got to communicate the ball screen, and no rejects. This game, they reject better than any team in our league, so we can't have rejects. So we really talk about this, like how we're going to guard their elbow entry in the pinch post. Like, we want our bigs to make them catch it out a little further without fouling. And one thing I learned just from watching the other games is how we're going to guard the splits. And with their splits last year, we zoned up and switched. One guard take the top guy, one guard take the bottom. I didn't think that's a good idea this year, so we didn't switch. We call it whip or go under, go third. You know, some of you guys might use go third, so we just go under and wait for them because they didn't have great shooters.
Right.
Ball screens, we're not up to touch. We're catching almost into a drop, really. And like I said, no rejects, and we got to have a mid, most important guy, in and out guy, and we're going to really gap and help. Then you see what it says about back screens, and I have the gate play because that's one of their special plays when they need the 3, and I have like only off ball switch we were doing. So our guys know we're not switching off the ball, but that play in particular, we're going to switch, and I'll show you how we guarded it. We guarded it pretty well. Then you see what we have for offensive keys, like value the ball, limit turnovers, let's get great shots. Against Virginia and against teams like Charlotte, you have to get it to the second and third side. And for us, that means we have to get to our second and third ball screens at FAU. And we have to get A shots. We can't take F shots. They'll allow you to take A shots. We got to take A shots. And we talk about the 45 cuts, ghosts. And I'm not going to show you all our offense down there. I don't want guys at FAU to get too down on them.
No problem.
But let me go here. Then you see the personnel stuff right there. So
for your personnel, are you just doing like top 5, top 6, something like that, or like?
Yeah, we got. Let me X out of here.
Looks like 8.
Yeah, you'll see it on here.
And my conference got a long way to go. I see you using sports code. I see you having fast scout and all that. If we want that stuff, we got to pay for it on our own up here.
Yeah. So usually we'll have it like this to show the guys. And I won't have this. I'll just have bullet points. I'll have like four bullet points for defense. So you see we got the scout. So let's talk through my man Jameer Young, because he was first team all conference. Lefty scorer, best shooter, very shifty, aggressive, loves the shot fake, extra pivot runner, loves it. Good at ball screen rejects. We got to stay square, no rejects, show hands on drives. He's one of the worst floppers in our league, and he goes to the free throw line more than anybody. So that's the head of the snake. I just went over him.
Right. And that would be pretty much how you would present it to the guys, same type.
Yeah. And honestly, they have this. I wouldn't even have all that. I would have best score, stay down on fakes, no fouls. Right. Literally, I would have that up for him.
Clear, concise, to the point. That's
because they should read this, because I may quiz them during the day. So we have 8. So we get to so this is them in transition, and you'll see like what you want to do in your scouts. Everything you said, you want to have it in your clips. Like if you want to have what they do drag ball screens in transition, and they're opportunists. So drag ball screen, So we want to show our guys that they're going to drag ball screen. So,
Right.
and this is a good clip because this is us against them last year. Step up ball screen.
Yep.
So in that time we were playing, we got back in zone, and Jameer Young's a lefty, and we let him go left. So what do you do? Reject. West Kentucky played against Western Kentucky, reject. No rejects. And to be honest, you also want, I'm gonna pause it. You also want to show clips of having success on defense against them.
Right.
I think too many times we show so many clips of guys just scoring and scoring and scoring. I mean, you gotta have clips of showing success too. So I think this is one of the clips. Look at the gap help. He gapped off a non-shooter. Great gap help.
Right.
And that's what we want. Like, that's how we want to stop their transition.
Love it.
So now they're in their chop series, their pinch post. This is from the year we played them, when I said we switched, we zoned up. So the two guards right here, they're zoning up. First of all, he should have a foot in the lane, but they're zoning up. So if he curls, he takes him. The bottom guy takes the bottom guy, pops, he takes.
Love it.
So double back door, we stayed underneath it. So like, we honestly, like, that's good D. Tough too. Excuse me, let me cut this music, this sound down.
No, you're good. So
All
just
right, now,
sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, to your point, at James Covell's last place, just because he's in the call and was a former guest, I remember that his scouts, his head coach wanted them showing misses of the other team all the time because of the psychological advantage that it gave guys. So same idea of just what you're saying.
Same idea.
Guys having some success, right?
Another good idea that I always take with me, and Cal Church started doing it, is showing your team going against scout team and running the same set. So showing this set right here, that chop series, showing it with our scout team running against our guys. Like, that was a good idea too. Showing our guys defending our scout team, saying it's the same set. So this right here is how we want to guard it. And I stole it from Western Kentucky. Man, you can steal stuff. Like, so many coaches have egos. Like, we all stealing. So I stole how we should guard from Western Kentucky. They had success against them. I'm like, man, let's guard it like this. Like, why are we gonna switch or whatever when we don't have to? Because the only people that's getting a ball screen is number 1 and number 13.
Right.
So let's just whip it just how he did it, and let's guard it like this. So that's how we're gonna guard the splits when we play them. In and out guy, and that's it right there. So
love it. That exact coverage, I actually saw a bunch of that in this game, right on that away screen when they're going under and getting back.
So this is follow. And some of this for our game, we'll go under some of these ball screens because it's hard to, I mean, a lot of these guys, no disrespect to them, they're not gonna play in the NBA. So when they're coming off a dribble handoff, they're not just raising up and shooting. So you're gonna see us going on a lot of screens. So they try to empty out his side with the follow action. Good in and out guy. And we got to get over these flares with Young, and you got to get over with your hands. Number 5, if he had his hands up, he would get a deflection. Get over and show your hands. Then if he drives it, just emergency switch. So that would be emergency switch if we can get to him.
Love it. So Akeem,
go ahead.
Go ahead, my fault.
So this is same action, and last year they posted us and they killed us on this play. We just weren't physical enough. They would just throw it in, but I think they might have threw it in right here. And they're just playing off of it. So, but go ahead, man. I
was just gonna say, same question. No, you good. Same question with your film as I would ask with the paper scout. How would you be delivering this to your guys, and then how do you ensure that they've, watched it, understood it, follow up with them type deal?
So I'll have 1 or 2 clips of each play, and I'll just talk to them almost as if I'm talking to you guys. Like, guys, we got to whip this screen, whatever our terminology is. We got to do this better. We got to do that better. Let me see if I can find how I would talk to our guys. So this is their push action. So I'll end it with this, then you can show whatever clips you want. This is their push action. They'll get to several different actions on here. This is like one of the gate plays too, in a step up ball screen. So I'll talk to our guys, like, guys, when they run the push action, it's either gate play or step up ball screen. So we're gonna catch it just like they did, no split. We can't allow them to split. Got to keep them out the lane.
Wow.
So on the scout, what did I say with gate? What I fake screen? Then what I say with gate? We're gonna switch it, right?
Right.
So they didn't switch it.
They get pinned on it, and then
No, they didn't. They really didn't get beat. But so I'll go to when we played them and see how we guard them. So this is our game. Let me pause it. So okay, let's see. They need a 3. This is their go-to play. We're up by 3. They need a 3. Let's see if our guys guarded it right. And this will be like our guys listening and scout. Let's see. Our guys listening and scout. We didn't give up the gate play. Kind of messed them up. So that's what you want to see. And what I say with Young, he's gonna draw fouls, man. He's gonna throw his head back. He's gonna draw fouls. I'll take you through late game stuff for them. Flat ball screen for Young. Then this is dribble, fake the handoff. He'll come back around and rescreen. They kind of botched it, but it's supposed to be a rescreen for Jameer Young. So with that being said, let's go back when we played them and see what we did. See how we guarded it. And I don't think we guarded it very well, if I can remember. So they didn't even do the handoff on this, but I told our guys, like, late game, guys, this is what they're going to. We actually guarded it very well.
There you go.
And you can see Young frustrated. He's because we guarded it very well. So that's just some of the stuff, like probably maybe 2/3 of what I showed you guys. I would add a little bit more, but you can see the organizer. I will have blobs and slobs on there, but that's just some of it.
So I got a couple questions just before I delve into some of the film that I pulled. So first, the first thing that I would ask would be from what you were doing just at the end there, where you're comparing what you guys actually did to what you were given in Scout. This has actually become like a recurring question that I'm asking. Do you typically do sort of like a self-analysis of like, hey, this is what we were supposed to do, and this is what we actually did, and then will you actually present that to your guys, or will that just be for you?
That would be more for me, so I can make adjustments, especially conference when we play them again. The only time it would be for our guys, actually that would be for our guys too. Like Friday night, I'll tell you, Friday night I was exhausted, but as a staff, we watched film for the first half. Then I stayed up and watched film, and I clipped all those clips. They came from Friday night. So I'll show our guys some of the success that we have and some of the things that we didn't do well that game. So mainly it's for me, but also for the guys if we have a quick turn. But Monday clips, we'll show our guys stuff that we need to get better at as a team versus scout. Because you want to kind of move on. Like, guys, we can't give up a pin down, like simple stuff. But those Friday clips, I'll show those Saturday. So we had shoot around. Right before shoot around, we watch film. I just hit them with 3 minutes of film. Let's watch this. This is what we need to do better. Obviously, we lost, so we didn't do anything better because we lost Saturday by 3 points. But that's what you want to do. You always want to have a database of all this stuff. And honestly, I would tell anyone to keep this stuff in your lacy, because you never know what you can steal from Charlotte. Like, Charlotte has a nice blob that I like. I steal so much from other teams.
Yeah, I'm the same for sure. I told you when we were talking about this in preparation, I lost like 4 years of film on one hard drive, and I was like, oh, I had so much good stuff on there. But yeah, going into this, how many how many guys would you play typically in a game? And do you guys use like depth charts to manage your rotations, or are you doing it sort of like on site and feel of the game type deal?
Yeah, more so on site and field of the game. Like we played a lot of guys because a lot of our guys were kind of equal. That goes back to what I said. Like, man, if you got a big time player, like you're gonna play them a lot. So our big time players, we played them a lot, and a lot of equal guys, we played them. Like if one was really good on defense, the other was really good on offense. That's our two backup centers. Like our starting center was really good, but obviously he may get in foul trouble or he may be tired. So who do you put in? It just depends on the game. If it's a game where we need defense, we're going to put in the backup center that plays defense. If it's a game that we need offense, we're going to put in the backup center that plays offense. That's really good at offense.
For sure.
So it was kind of one of those years with us. But we had a couple of freshmen that we would throw in to see if they can get us going. And in that game, we actually did have a couple of freshmen that got us going, and it helped.
Love it. And then as far as like in game, obviously you sat in the head coach chair for this game. So what would coach normally have you tracking as an assistant on the side? And did you do similar type stuff while you were directing the game, or have somebody do similar type stuff? Or would you probably move to something else if for when you're getting your head coaching spot? So like, are you doing like defensive kills, or like what are you guys doing on the side?
Man, we're tracking. Todd did a good job, and I'll always carry this with me: A and F shots. And it's funny because every game we're like, man, we took, 28 shots. We made 18 A shots, guys. We took 10 F shots, and we're 0 for 10. So it was always on point. So we would track A and F shots, and for us at FAU, an A shot was, getting to the paint in threes.
Right.
A contested two was the F shot. Obviously,
Right.
if you go downhill and you got an uncontested pull up and a floater, and that's what you do, for us, that's an A shot too.
Okay.
But we would track that. I would always take that with me. Me personally, I didn't track much because I was always doing defense. I would maybe track, if a set they ran was destroying us, like what we can do different, or how we always paid attention to how we're guarding ball screens. Like, should we switch up our coverage? Those were the main things I really kept track of, and who was on their team, who was really playing well besides their top guy. Because sometimes we get so caught up in stopping their top guy, but that you forget like their top guy, whoever he's gonna get his points. We need those role guys, like, not to score. But I never, honestly, every place I've been, coaches told me never to track anything. They just said, pay attention to the game. I even tried last year. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a notebook, a little notebook. And I couldn't I couldn't do it.
I
just
can't
gotta
do it
pay
either.
attention. Yeah.
I had one guest on here that I was just amazed at what he was tracking. Like, you can do that and watch the game type deal, but for
Man.
me, it's like I can't even coach if I'm I'm
Yeah.
so focused on writing whatever. I'm like, I don't even know what just happened in the game. I can only think
Yeah.
of it in terms of what I'm writing down type deal. So
And Coach May gave us so much freedom that, like, sometimes I would stand up and say 13, 1-3-1. Or I would say, guys, we're going to press. So me writing stuff down when we're at the free throw line versus, me getting up and saying, guys, it's time to get into our 2-2-1, that may have affected me. So I just can't do it. I'm actually going to try it again this year. I said, okay, I'm not going to write everything down. I'm just going to write like 3 things at halftime that I saw defensively, or offensively, that we can get better at. So,
all right. So then, and like my last question, unless anybody else has some questions before we delve into a bit of film from my side, is just that, I mean, your first head coaching experience at this level, at the half, you guys only put in 18 points, I think it was. You're down a little bit at the half. So what are you thinking? How are you evaluating what's going on? What's important on a box score? What are you saying to your guys? Like what's sort of going through your mind, and how are you keeping your guys in it? What adjustments are you looking at?
and I'm looking at the stat sheet right now, but I'll get into the stats. What we looked at FAU and what I like. Obviously, to me, the halftime score, that's the number one stat. I don't,
I love how
everybody give me.
often people omit that. the score is a big one, guys.
The score is the number one stat, but also, your field goal percentage, your 3-point percentage, and how many shots taken inside the arc and outside the arc, rebounds, offense and defense. One thing that's unique about me, I've never coached with a head coach or been a part of staff that didn't send at least 3 or 4 to the glass. So I don't even know how to, although Chicago was really good, they send everybody back besides one person. Even Charlotte sent one. I don't know if you guys saw on my scout, we got to block out 1.5 people. Guys, they're sending everybody back. So we should,
I just throw in a side note, is amazing to me because they have Aaron Fern on staff, who's the originator of the tagging up system.
Yeah.
and they're sending one to I was watching the whole game. I'm like, this is so weird.
Yeah, on my scout, I said, guys, they sent 1.5 to the glass. They should never get a rebound. Assisted turnover ratio, and go back to defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding, I should say. We tried to get 37% of our misses. So that was really important for us to see where we were offensive rebounding. And that probably started our first year because we were one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league. So we really had to go to the glass. Then free throws, how many were taken versus them. And both teams took, we took 8 free throws. They took 5. So 13 total. But the next game, Saturday night, it was 70 free throws combined taken. It was a totally different game. But I would look at that stuff, how we're defending the 3, assist to turnover. And some people say, well, when you're looking at assists, if you have a low assist amount, they're not sharing the ball, right? No, you gotta look at how many shots are we missing, because you don't want to say, oh guys, we're not sharing the ball. You just look at assists. You gotta look at the missed attempts. I'm man, we're actually sharing the ball. We're just missing wide open shots.
Right.
So that's some of the stuff I look at. And I think, did you ask another question with that?
Yeah, just sort of how are you conveying whatever your message is to your guys? What are you saying?
Yes. So one thing I'll probably reiterate it. I'm trying to remember and look at the stats at the same time, but I probably reiterated second and third ball screens. I'm sure I said we got to adjust our screens, probably set more flat ball screens to get, since they hard hedge. I'm sure I said, hey, let's get out in transition. Those are some of the things I probably conveyed, and I'm going to take a look at the stats myself, because we didn't score much, obviously,
yeah, but just like you said, the shots weren't really falling in that first half, right? So
no doubt.
I actually remember Andre Gray said on here, they on the bench, they keep track of what they called, I think it was SGAs, which was score generating attempts. So they might only have 8 assists, but they've really had 22 score generating attempts, and they just missed 14 shots that should probably go down. So
no question, because I'm looking at the stats now, and we were 1 for 10 from 3, and we shot a pretty good percentage last year. We shot 28% from the field the first half.
Right.
And as opposed to second half, we shot 43% from 3, and we still only shot 39% from the field, but we held them to 34% from the field. And overtime, we were 6 for 6, 4 for 4. So tell of 2 halves, and our guys did a good job in the second half, and especially overtime.
Love it. If anybody has questions, jump in. If not, I'm going to move into a little bit of film that I pulled from it, Akeem. First, is this size good? You can see this okay, and we're smooth in terms of playback.
I think Chris had a question. Somebody had a question.
Let me check.
That was me.
Yeah, Chris had a question.
You got something?
Yeah. Do you just curious with the short turnaround time? Do you keep anything in your pocket for the next day? So did you have teams did they keep something that they showed you on the second night they hadn't showed you on the first night? Do you do the same?
No, honestly, we didn't. And I know for a fact they didn't, because they ran some of the same plays. The only thing we did different was the first game we went into overtime. We ran a different out of bounds play that they never seen before, and it was TA was drawing up the play, and I said, TA, let's just do this. They're not going to go Carlos, which is our 6'11" 3-point guy. So we just curled our guard around Carlos, and Carlos popped open for a wide open three. He shot over like 35% from three. He just missed it. And I can look at their bench. They were like, wow, we dodged them. Then in the second game, we kind of ran a similar play, but we had someone back screen to opposite corner, and our point guard just accidentally stepped out of bounds. So it wasn't in my back pocket. Honestly, we were trying to figure stuff out, and I was like, look, they're not going to guard Carlos. And I just felt that they were going to take away strong side corner because we were in the same exact position. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I was thinking about this the night before, but I was like, man, I think we got to do something different, and just, you know, like all of us, we watch a ton of games, we see a ton of stuff. So you remember, stuff slows down for you too in that moment.
For sure.
And you just start thinking about, oh shoot, you know, what about this? And I saw this freaking Tom Thibodeau ran this 2 years ago. So
right. So like it's like a counter, but you've got 4 halves to run your counters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great question, Chris.
So I mean, as far as these clips go, I said just in warm-ups, I'll play everything a few times. First time, just sort of let it go through so you can familiarize yourself. Second time, I'll try to describe it for anybody listening. Third time, take it away. Tell me what you see, what you do, similar, different, etc. For anybody who's listening, this is just the first play of the game for Akeem's team. FAU gets multiple sides, ends up with a contested 3, basically.
Yeah,
So
I don't think that. I would say that's not a good possession. I mean, we got somebody that's not a great shooter, shooting the ball, but we did accomplish one thing. That's 1 ball screen, got it to one side of the floor, 2 ball screens, 2 sides of the floor, and we got the ball inside, but he caught it. He should catch it deeper, honestly. Then we had too many guys freaking cutting, so we looked a little eager. So
so was this a play call, or your guys just trying to get multiple sides?
This is multiple sides, just opening play, get everybody a touch. And it's crazy because you sit here and watch, okay, we do that well, but we didn't do a good job. Like the shot wasn't great, but we didn't crash a glass. And we looked so eager when we got in the post. Like, look at everybody cutting. Like, we get 3 guys cut to the ball. Like, that's not good basketball. That's terrible basketball. And our Carlos got to get a deeper post. He should be punishing number 5, which I think he ended up doing.
Yeah, he definitely had some great touches throughout the game. So if in hindsight, would you maybe have gone with a call, or just trust your guys to, if they were not as anxious, have something better figured out type deal?
I would have probably still went with that, because that's one of our best calls, and it just gives everybody a touch. It gets the ball second and third side of the floor. I would have told Carlos, I'll tell you when to pause it. Boom, right now, I would have told Carlos to go back. I would have told Carlos to screen his own man, and we would have a layup right now. If he pushes number 5 into 13, we have a layup. But instead, Carlos is trying to get a hit on 13 instead of just basically moving number 5 into the ball screen. And then we would have had a layup, or they would have sucked in, and Ingram, who number 11 passes it to, transferred to Georgia. He would have had a wide open shot. So that's the only thing. Maybe I should have saw that adjustment when I was watching film at 2 a.m. because I think we would have got a layup.
You are hard on yourself, I can tell.
Oh, man.
Next one is just their first play of the game. They run what I would call 77, so this would be a double drag. They're moving from the offensive right slot to the offensive left slot. They roll the second, pop the first, and the point man exits to the offensive left side of the floor. So now we have a 3 side where we go middle man through. And then basically they stall out for a little bit and they swing through their 5, pass and follow with a screen. He goes out, and then they try to attack through the nail, get a little jump shot over top inside the paint. Talk to me about what you see and what you like and what you don't like.
I would say there's good defense. Besides, they found somebody that I would just say they found them. Look no further, they found them. That's all I would say.
Right.
They found somebody that's not great on defense. That's what I would say.
I hear you. Did you guys have anything put in where you were trying to restrict multiple sides, or And then, talk to me about your help principles a little bit here in terms of where it should be coming from.
Let me see what Mike Forrest is, because it seemed like he was going to be in the gap. So right now, he can play it all the way through until it gets to the wing. So Mike Forrest, number 11, he can be more in the gap because 13 isn't a great shooter. He can be all the way at the elbow. Like
Okay.
he should be there earlier, and we should be making number 30 kick the ball to 13 because he's not a great shooter. Because and you got to kind of know who your guy is, right? You got to know who number 15 is. He's not the greatest defender, so I'm gonna give him more help, especially if you're guarding a guy that doesn't shoot threes well. So
And
that's
then,
all. Like his thing was he should have been in the gap more, and it's not like we say no middle or whatever. Like this is one-on-one defense. It's no screen. This is just one-on-one defense. So I don't know. The only thing we can help him with is number 11 being a gap more. But this is like, I would probably tell Ingram, hey man, this is a freshman and you're like a fifth-year player, and he just took 2 bounces and shot over you. I don't know. Like, what do you want me to do for you?
right.
So
And who, like in your principles, who's your MIG here? Is it the guy guarding one in the corner, or is it your big guarding the slip out?
right now, so if this go back, so at the beginning, it should be the guy guarding the guy in the corner. He should be the mid. But as he ghosted, like he's going out. So it's not like, and he doesn't really look beat. And the guy guarding the corner he's guarding the best player in the league too.
Okay.
So it's just like, honestly, it's not much to this besides you gotta guard one-on-one, and you can't let a dude that average 6 points a game or whatever you average shoot over.
Right. Gotcha. This one was an interesting one to me. So this is kind of a set that they run a lot where they get this sort of shuffle cut. I talk about it a little bit later
So
on.
go back. So we made a mistake right here. Like, so number 13, what I say we're supposed to do? We're whipping it or going third.
Right.
Like, he's not a shooter. So why are we chasing him over? But at the same time, our big guy, Carlos, that's guarding the ball, we told him to back up, and he has to have big time activity. And he did, and it saved the layup because he's really doing a good job. He's not quite on the ball, which we didn't want him to. We want to be right there where he is and protect the rim, basically. So he did a good job of that.
Getting big, staying in the passing lanes. I've actually got one a little bit later about the shuffle cut specifically. So you can talk a little bit more about that. I think you've kind of covered it already though, but getting into this a little bit deeper, there's a pass and fall into top ball screen. And then as it gets downhill, this is a drop and over coverage. And then it turns into a veer switch, I would say, where you're big the guard. And one that I like to know, sort of like your teaching points all the time, this veer switch is, whose call is this for the switch to actually happen? Is it the guard? Is it the bigs?
It's the guard. So as soon as the guard, if he gets beat to the nail or to any of the elbows, or if he sees his back, he's calling X. So right now the guard is calling X because he feels like he's beat. So BJ did a good job, and we just gotta. What did I say? Pause it. What did I say? Young did. Shot fake, pivot. Shot fake, pivot. Like you gotta pivot with him. You gotta stay down. That's what he does. So and BJ down low, he did a good job of being physical with him. And hopefully, the only thing we didn't do a good job of, we should have had more come to the glass. Like there it is, one person. I'm getting frustrated. I shouldn't watch this. One person gets a rebound because our 2 6'7", 6'6" guys, they're watching while BJ is fighting his tail off. And this is a clip like you show on Monday too. Like guys, we can't allow this. Like you guys got to be selfish with rebounding. Like I tell guys all the time, if there's one thing you could be selfish with, it is rebounding. Like you can be selfish with rebounding. It's okay.
So with your big, would you do stuff in practices where you would work on him trying to stay in front of quick athletic guards such as this gentleman?
Yeah, it's funny. I text Dusty today and I said, hey, what do you do for X's? Like, is it a drill? And I said, I know we play 2-on-2. He's like, man, I can't think of anything. The only thing we do is play 2-on-2 and 3-on-3. So if you play 2-on-2, you know, it's going to be an X unless that guard just really blasts over the screen. Or, you know, sometimes we would go under a lot, but it's going to be an X. So you'll fall into a bunch of X's. So to be honest, the best drill is just freaking have a coach at the top of the key, throw it to the wing, opposite block, sprint out ball screen, then you'll get the X.
And play. Try your best, man.
Yeah, but then if you're up there, so if you don't get the X and the big is dropping, you got to have active hands. Then we also will play one-on-one with our walk-on guard was really fast. So we'll play one-on-one at the nail. So about right there with our big and our guard, our one-on-one guard.
Would
we'll
you
play
start
one-on-one.
big in sort of like a drop, or is he?
Yeah, he would be in a drop. Sometimes we'll start at the nail. Sometimes we'll start the guard at the top of the key, and he just got to sit down and guard him. And we're just telling the big, late contest on the 2, and stay down on pivots. But we did play a lot of one-on-one with the guards and the bigs. Oh, you good? My bad.
No. And there'd be like a left and right boundary, like you can only go as wide as the lane line type deal, or you put some pylons down. Yeah. This I thought was a really good counter to a high hedge that they were using at this point in the game. So for anybody who's listening, there's a pass to the offensive left slot. It gets a bit of a chin action and then swung through the person who sets the back screen. We get a little bit of an over the top, and we're playing pass and follow with the screen. Turns into.
Hey, pause it. If you go back, a lot of teams, this is like save bounce ball screens. A lot of young guys come to college and they instantly right now put the ball on the floor.
Yep.
Like we really teach save bounce, so you can have a choice. Like right now, if you instantly put the ball on the floor, you kind of taking yourself away from a shot. Like right now, Mike Forrest is a really good shooter. He can shoot that.
Right.
Or he can go right or left. So we call it save bounce ball screen.
Love it. We say no drop dribble all the time. Don't just put it down. Don't drop it. Think about what you're doing for half a second before you go. So you see the first hedge there. And then we get to the second side. So we're in the offensive right wing. We set another screen and they go to hedge again. And when they do, you just short roll it and throw it in behind the tag for a beautiful 3.
Yeah. So, and if you go look at the other side too, he had both guys open. Mike did a good job of basically 45 kill cut. We keep saying like we need to kill cut, and we have somebody open. If he would have kept going, and Keenan, number 13, would have faded to the corner, he would have been open for a 3 as well.
And so my question to it was, how do you work with this big to make him so aware? Is this a play call that, hey, they're hedging, the short roll is there, get it, spray it out, make the right decision type deal. And then the 45 cut, I wanted to ask you about, but you've kind of touched on it already. Are you always 45 cutting, or is it burning the worst shooter?
We're going every time the ball comes towards the 2 side, we 45 cut. And we tried to, in the NBA, so if you go back in the NBA, what they do is, I forgot what the name of the cut, but so number 11 is a shooter. In the NBA, number 13 is not a shooter. In the NBA, they would cut the corner guy and number 11 would slide. But we didn't want to really confuse our guys. That's like next level, which I think they may do it this year. I don't know, but that's what the NBA does. But to go back to your question about, do we work on it? I know we talked about how we do one in defense, one in offense. This is one of the things we worked on offense, like kickouts, like short roll. Then he has to read where the next defender is coming from. So we worked on all this a couple of days prior to the game.
Would you, throughout the season, at any point be talking to your big during the game, like, hey, they're tagging off of the ball side, so you're going this way, or they're not tagging off of the ball side, so look to the second side of the floor type deal? Is that an adjustment that you're talking to him, or do you just kind of let him read and hope that his experience and training is good enough?
No, we're talking to him. We're working on that prior to the game. Like, we're working on that with scout team. We're going over our offense against scout team, and we're telling the scout team, and sometimes the coaches will be on scout team, and we're telling the scout team, hey, this is how they're going to tag. They're going to have this end guy. We're telling our scout team that. So just as much we work on defense with our scout team, we work on the offense as well.
And the cut on the 2 side that you were talking about, I've heard that referred to as a burn, cut, and drift, or if their team sets the hammer, obviously then just a hammer at that point. So I don't know if you've heard something different, but that's the terminology I've heard.
Yeah, low cut. We termed it something else at FAU, but burn cut, low cut. Those were the two.
Love it. Next one's an easy one for you. This is one I ask every week. This is just in transition, one more, put it up. Transition threes, yay or nay for you?
A shot. I mean, if you're shooting, I'm sure Jalen Ingram shot about 40%. That's an A shot for us.
Love it.
Like if you get that in the half court at 10 seconds, what's the difference?
Yeah,
That you just burn. Yeah, you just burn some clock. So that's an A shot. I think we're trending that way with everybody, to be honest. A lot of teams are trending that way.
And for you, is that an A shot for all of your players, or do they have to establish some sort of benchmark first?
Yeah, we tried early to establish it. That's definitely not an A shot for all of them. But I think once the season got going, they understood what's an A shot for them and what's an A shot for somebody else. But we tried early to do the old shooting chart that Oregon women's coach has done. But I mean, we stopped doing it. Like the guys knew what shot was good for them and what shot wasn't, and we would tell
them. Is Oregon women's Kelly Graves? Do I have that right?
Yeah, I forgot the drill. I forgot the drill that we used to do. I got it somewhere on my lacy, but we used to do that drill a lot. And green light, it's called green light, red light, something like that. You have green light, yellow light, red light. And then just
basically establish
a
pyramid or a hierarchy type deal. So this one was one that I like. This is dealing with a five that can shoot. I'm sure this probably makes your scout wondering what you're doing. So the ball's in the offensive right slot. It gets reversed through the point. DHO gets rescreened, and then on the rescreen, it's an under or a through, and your big is back, and then they pop 25. He does miss the shot, but I'm sort of wondering how you dealt with a five that could shoot. Is this one you're just willing to give up, or like what are you guys doing here?
See, on Carlos, Carlos has to know. So our big, who's actually playing overseas, like he's not beat. Like so, right now, boom, he's good. So he should be going back toward his man. He should be basically his right foot should be at the nail, and he's not beat. He doesn't need help. So he gotta, in his mind, he gotta know when a big that can shoot checks in, and a big that can't shoot checks in, because it changes the way you guard. Like if it was number 5 and the other 5, man, like he can guard them like that. But now 25, the freshman shooter, you should be moving closer to him, especially once you see 13 back in front of the ball.
And similar to what I'm asking about the veer switch, is it still the guard's call to say, I'm back, get out of here type deal?
I'm square back. And I think you just gotta have a feel. Like you gotta have a feel right there, in my opinion, too. Like you gotta see that he's not beat. So it's like he's looking right at him. So you gotta have some feel on that one. And I would show Carlos this. I'm like, Carlos, and he would know. Like, Carlos, what are you doing? He's like, oh shoot, I'm guarding 25. Like I bet you he just thought like, man, number 5. I've been guarding number 5 and 31 the whole game, and this dude comes in. So that's something, like, honestly, that as a coach, as an assistant coach, that I would probably say that as a head coach, sometimes it's hard, right? As an assistant coach, I would probably say, Carlos, number 25 checks in. He checked in. He's a really good shooter. You know, you gotta move closer to him. You gotta have better closeouts. Don't let him get a separation from you.
Love it. So then this next one is the same shuffle cut that I was talking about earlier. And so we just got a handoff to the right wing. We get it reversed. There's a chin screen. Ball gets reversed through the chin screen. And then at the same time, that shuffle cut is a reject. And then take it into a handoff. We play through the first one. And then here on the second shuffle cut.
Oh, no, don't show me this. Oh, my God.
I think you get beat on this, unfortunately.
Freshman, man. Like, you gotta go under that. Like that. And we talked about it earlier. Like, why are we chasing him? Is he gonna stop and pop back? No, he's not a shooter. So just go under this. We're not switching. And that's just a freshman mistake. That's a freshman mistake.
Love it.
That's all I can say.
At this point in the game, if it's a freshman and you got to trust him and he makes that mistake, are you going to call him out on it and adjust it in game, or are you going to wait until later with like film and being able to speak to him? I mean, I'm sure he knows he's made that mistake for sure.
No, you want to
what's
call it
your-
out. You want to call it out in timeout, so the whole team can't make that mistake anymore. If you let that go and you don't say anything, if it happens again, like the day and age that we coach now, like I'm like, well, such and such did it. You didn't say anything when he did it. So it's a way to call it out in a huddle. Hey guys, we cannot keep chasing non-shooters. Like that's what we worked on all week. We have to whip these screens. We have to go under. Like we have to do a better job. Like these dudes as non-scorers, they're scoring. They're affecting the game.
Right.
So and I'm pretty sure I said that. In timeout, and the corner guy could have saved him too because he's hugging a non-shooter. Like he should at least have lane line, putting his left foot on the block, because look where the ball is, look where he is. Why is he hugging number 13 when he's not the greatest shooter?
So you're saying
in any principle too, he should all the way opposite corner. He should be the emergency help on anything because I mean he's hugging opposite corner.
Love it. All right. So this is end of the second. We skipped ahead a bit here. You guys are up 3. It's a minute 15. You took a timeout. Sorry, there's a question in the chat. Let me see what's there. Yeah, exactly. I agree, Chris. So Chris is just basically saying, I like that approach. Sends the message without putting the kid on an island. And freshmen, you know, the old cliche is the best part about freshmen is they become sophomores or whatever. Sometimes it can be a little bit sensitive to some feedback for sure, right? So
yeah. And you got to know who you're talking to. One thing I would say about criticism, like the guys we coach now, it's hard for them to take it. So you kind of got to. We all heard it, whisper criticism, then really be loud about we. You know, that's what I'm trying to teach our guys, even
right.
at UF. Like even with leading, I've heard y'all got to do this when you're on one team. Y'all got to do this, and I'm trying to tell our guys, dude, if you really want to be a good leader, you got to say we. Just imagine that head coach comes in and saying, man, y'all ain't rebounding, instead of saying we're not rebounding, we're not doing this. Like let's take y'all away. Let's go with the we approach. Is better in that basically, you know, for a guy, if you're trying to lead, that helps the whole team that you're on.
Love it. So for this one, like I said, you got about 75 seconds left in regulation. You're up 3. You took the time out to drop an ATO. I don't think you guys really executed the way that you wanted. So for anybody who's watching, listening, basically there's an inbound and a shuffle cut to the other side of the floor. It turns into a top ball screen going to the single side. The roll is down the double side. Don't get anything out of it. Killer dribble too early. Move the ball to the left wing. And then now we're into play after play stuff, which is something we haven't really talked about very much in terms of what you guys are doing for play after play. But he shoots basically a pull-up contested with about 5 or 6 left on the shot clock from the right wide slot, wide wing area. It gets blocked partially, and then they end up with the ball. So talk to me first about what you were trying to do with this set, and then talk to me second about play after play stuff, what you guys sort of have in place, what you were trying to do if the original set breaks down type deal.
Yeah, that didn't run so fluid. If you can go back. So basically, 2 and it should have been right now the ball screen. It should have been going. Number 2 goes over, he goes under, and the ball screen should have happened right then.
Right.
Just to cause a little bit of confusion, but the timing of it was way off. Then you can let it run until we get the wing ball screen with number 11. Should have been a wing ball screen. I would say F shot.
So you said should have been on wing ball screen here.
Yeah, you see Carlos coming up to try to, and he's fighting with the dude. Like going back, I would just tell Carlos to just come set a step up ball screen, you know, because even the wing ball screen, he was going to go into 3 people. So going back, if I looked at this again, I would say, man, Carlos should have sprint out there and set a step up. And I probably would have told Carlos, just watching all these ball screens, how the dude is fighting with him. I would have just said, man, you just screen your own. Sprint up there and just screen your own, and you push him into the damn screen because he's fighting with him to get on that ball screen. But definitely that play out of a timeout, going back, was a F play, F shot, F everything. So.
And then late game, this is the one that ties it for them. So they're under 30 seconds. They get a sort of like a fake
And
handoff.
we went over that play, right? Then we go over that play at Scott. I was
sure
saying
did.
like this, when they need a three, where they're going to, and our guys know this.
So he's a low dribble. You get a what I would call an up block screen on the same side.
So
reverse, and it's just a big three, just like you said in terms of when you're looking through it.
Yeah, no doubt. And honestly, if they Carlos number 25 should have just basically helped out. Like, I mean, he should have helped out. BJ shouldn't have dropped. He should have chased him harder. And trust me, I was on the sideline screaming. I knew it was coming. I was pissed because I knew it was coming because I've watched him so much. But that's the nature of the game. He's
for sure.
Jameer Young is a big time player. Like, that's what he does.
For sure.
Yeah.
Ideal world, your big is up and your back, high hands. It's more contested than it is, basically.
Man, if I would do it again too, I would just go back. I would almost have boom, top lock right now. Top lock him and make him, like, if you top lock him, what he's gonna do? Cut? I mean, then we'll have help. Because this is their play. When Charlotte runs a play and it breaks down, they kind of don't know what to do, especially one of these plays, because they're so used to throwing into the pinch post and doing all that. So this might be a thing where, guys, if we see this, let's top lock Young next time. So just different ideas. So post game, I would have a list of different ideas and see if anyone else does it.
And just to be clear, for anybody who may not understand, you would have him moved over so that he's preventing and then forcing this person to reject and maybe go for the layup type deal instead of coming for the shot. That's what you mean by the top block, right?
Yeah. Then 25 should be there to help. And if they want to give it to 5, they shoot a 3.
Yeah, and I mean, even if he goes for that layup, you're still up 24 seconds. It's still in your favor.
No doubt.
End of game, you're I put in slob. I don't understand why I wrote that, but it's baseline out of bounds, and then you guys get a free opportunity to win it. It's a great set.
Yeah.
Misses the shot. Walk me through it. Is this the same one that you were saying that you just you put in?
Yeah. So usually we just replace. So go back to the beginning. The only thing we did different is replace our best shooter is setting the screen. Usually, he's in the spot where our big is. So we just swapped them. This is a set we normally run. We just swapped them. Curl, pin in, wide open. That's all we did. So TA had it drawn up, and I said, TA, let's swap Carlos because they know Mike, who's our best shooter, number 11. They know Mike is gonna get the 3. And Carlos is a good shooter. Carlos is confident, and it looked good.
It did look good. It did.
It looked good.
It just didn't go down. That's all.
Yeah. Then you get this is stuff as a head coach. I go back and I look at this stuff on Twitter. Why the heck did they have Carlos shoot the game-winning 3? Well, he shoots 38% from 3 from that slot, so that's why. But the fans don't know that, and it's wide open for a good shooter. So, and I'll tell you this, and you can keep playing it. I learned 3 things from being a head coach, and I tell everybody this. Number 1, you got to have a good point guard. If you can have multiple good point guards, man, it helps you. Number 2, you got to have a great staff. Like, it was no ego that I was the head coach. On any other staff, it could be backstabbing. Like, why is he the head coach?
Right.
And I didn't have an ego either. I didn't have an ego. Todd drew up plays. Am I confident I can draw up plays? Hell yeah. But Todd drew up plays. I didn't have an ego. He's been working with offense the whole year. Like, I could have easily had an ego. And number 3, you got to have somebody to help you with your health because it's very unhealthy.
For sure. The stress level is high, for sure.
I went to sleep at 2, woke up at 5, and you got to have somebody help with your health. But having the staff is crucial because they're not making, they're not making selfish suggestions. They're making suggestions that help the team and competent suggestions. some people want to make suggestions just so they sound good, just so they can talk in incompetent suggestions, but you got to make competent suggestions. If you don't have a suggestion, don't say nothing at all.
Right.
Like, and I think you got to have that. You got to have a good staff. You have to put together a competent staff to help you succeed as a head coach.
So there's a question here. It's actually about the clip before. It's Charlotte's possession, the three that was tough. And Chris's question is, rewinding to Charlotte's possession, would you consider using one to give with 20 plus seconds left? So I'm assuming he means right about in here before you get beat on the screen, taking a foul at this point with the 20 plus left. Get them side out so that you don't end up giving up.
Yeah. If they're in the I don't, number one, I understand the question, but I don't think we have one to give, and it's so much time. And he probably would have gotten into his shooting motion while we're giving up while we're fouling at the speed that number 4 is running at him. It probably could have been a freaking 4-point play, but I wouldn't foul that late. Maybe 8 seconds, 7 seconds, but that late with 20 seconds left. I mean, you know, if he misses this, we're still up by 3. If we foul, he makes 2, and we happen to turn it over, or we miss a free throw, now we have a chance to lose the game.
Right.
So I probably wouldn't foul unless it's like 7 seconds, honestly. And it's just so close, like that at that angle. I think he would have got up. The way he flops too, it's no doubt in my mind. It would have been
going to the line, maybe making
he's going to the line. And to be honest, look at number 11 stunt. You can't get better stunt than this. Like number 11, man, that's big time by Mike. That stunt almost hit the ball. A good player making a tough shot. So
yeah. Chris, did I get that question right? You're basically asking, would you foul up 3 with this amount of time left? Is that correct? And he's gone. All right, so I'll move on. We got first play.
Pause it. So and this is where I'd say competent staff. So our guys were freaking so sad that we didn't win in regulation. So Ty came over and said, Akeem, you got to motivate these dudes. These dudes look so down. I was like, you're right. Like that's stuff that as a head coach, sometimes you may not see, but your assistants see. And I went in and was like, guys, we're going to win this game. Like we're at home, we're going to win this game. Have fun, play with confidence, we'll win this game. Right. And that's just from the assistant. So, and we played spectacular in overtime.
And exactly the point that I'm going to get to. So I only pulled 3 plays from overtime. I didn't think there was much strategic to really talk about because in my opinion, you guys just steamrolled them in overtime. But here's first play of the game. We got an enter to your big. He fakes the handoff back, and then he plays through from the double side, turns into a top pick and roll, rolling on the single side, and then similar to earlier, he makes a fantastic spray out pass, bang, open 3, night, you guys go to sleep. So I thought that was just a beautiful example of the tone of all of overtime. And then I have, if you want to comment on that, great, but I had one more that I also thought was just fantastic, where they miss and you guys bust out.
Wait, go back to that. I'm sorry, I'm such a defensive guy, but you see the X on this. So look at the X and look at the blockout and look at our guards rebounding down. Like we always talk about guards rebounding down. So look at the hit, and this is pause it, and this tells you who's tough, right? So look at number 4, look at number 11, and I'm not by any means like our other 2 big wings. Like you should be on the glass, right? But look at these guards rebounding down, and you win with tough guards, man. I always say that. And these guys won the game because of this play, not because of the 3-point play that number 4 hit. This is the reason why we won.
Yeah, like he's giving away 40, 45 pounds right there, right?
Yeah, and the 2 guards, and look at our big wings. Like that's a big time play. And that's like, you know, Monday winning plays, or, you know, whenever you show clips, this is a winning play, not the 3-pointer. That's a winning play.
And it works out being a winning play in the other direction too. So we go offensive left slot, we go swing, and then so swing, goes back up top, and we end up into a pick and roll from, a handoff and play through from the offensive left slide, which basically ends up being like a spread pick and roll. early pocket, dunk shot, and I think you just see all the air go out of the tires for Charlotte at this moment right here.
Yeah, that was just moving the ball side to side. Our guys got more juice. That was really good play, and I think we made an adjustment to go more handoffs that second half and in overtime, because it's hard to, ball screen stuff wasn't great, so it looked like we made an adjustment to go more handoffs. But that's a great pass.
That pass is beautiful,
Look
right
at the
under the
cuts,
arm.
like I love the 45 cuts and the movement on the weak side, and Jameer Young is not going to help at the rim on a 6'11" dude. So.
And then the very last one that I had was just, this is a nice set. You guys are up 5. It's in overtime. I was wondering if this was more of a play call or if this was you guys playing, but basically turns into just an empty side attack. So for anybody,
That's us playing and reading. And once again, like, look at 25, the way he's guarding him. He could have just set a ball screen too. He didn't set it, but it would have been open if he set a ball screen. Going toward no side, unbalanced floor. We got 3 guys on one side, and that's just a read by Mike Forrest. Like, man, he's on top of him. I got a wide open layup, and great finish with the inside hand.
Yeah, fabulous.
I would say I would be screaming out PD, baby, player development on that one.
I love it. And you can see you kind of fist pumping over there. Did you suspect sort of at this point that the game was yours, given the way that overtime was going? How were you able to focus for the rest of the way?
Yeah, I suspected that we would. The 2 plays that you showed, more impressively, the defensive stop. I was like, man, this is our game, man. You can see it. You can see during the game that the tires are falling off for them, because they're such a team of good focus and good control, just like their coach. They don't really show that much emotion, and they have bad body language. So you can see when a team has bad body language. A team like that, if they have bad body language, you probably got it.
Love it. Well, Akeem, your first win in the head coaching chair at the Division I level. I not only commend you, but I love the fact that I was able to sit down and talk to you about this one. I know it's a special one for sure. Nothing but respect for you in terms of being able to listen and learn from you all this past year and a half. Really appreciate your friendship. I hope for all the coaches who jump on and all the coaches who listen that you continue to find value in this show. I know I say it every week, but it means a lot to me that people take interest and listen and learn and enjoy. And I'm just so happy to be able to be along for the ride with people of your caliber. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you doing this and sitting down.
Thank you, man. And no caliber. I'm just a regular person. So I'm just a regular dude. And if I can help anybody, I will. But thank you. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for the opportunity.
Love it. And much continued success this season with Florida. Looking forward to it. I'm going to run it down. I'm going to finish Run It Back here. Please tune in next week. I'll see you guys moving on. And again, Akeem, thank you for your time.